Well, ladies and gentlemen, so yes, welcome to my echoing empty house. I'm just like 80% done with the move. So today we are going to be covering our video of Jupiter transit over other planets and what happens when Jupiter is transiting over other planets. And this is where the beauty of transits really comes into play, especially when planet transits over each other. And also with this concept of transit, you got to remember with every planet, a planet will heavily affect another planet. Like whenever Jupiter goes over your natal planets, Sun, Moon, Saturn, Mars, etc. Look at the 4 degrees before that planetary degree and 4 degrees after that planetary degree. This 8-degree of the planetary circumference. So if this is, let's say, Sun, okay, and Jupiter's transiting over Sun, just imagine 4 degrees before Sun and 4 degrees after Sun is when Jupiter will really affect the Sun. Like, you know, when you want to see if something will happen, remember this 4-degree rule on each side for every planet. Because you can't say, well, Jupiter's transiting over your Sun, so this is what's going to happen. But when is it going to happen? For this, you cannot have Jupiter at 2 degrees in the sign of Leo and then Sun at 25 degrees in the sign of Leo and think that Jupiter is going to somehow affect the Sun. No, it's going to have to be close and going over the Sun. So just remember these principles, they work beautifully. Now, if you do not know what your ascendant is, what your moon chart is, what planet Jupiter is currently transiting over, or it's going to transit over next year or year after that, for all this good stuff, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link here. So, Jupiter going over planets. So what is Jupiter doing when it's going over other planet? Well, the most important thing to realize is that what house is Jupiter ruling in your horoscope and what kind of a dignity does Jupiter initially has in your horoscope. So if let's say you're a Taurus ascendant, Jupiter rules the 8th house with his sign of Sagittarius, which is known as what? The Mool Trikon sign, meaning that his real home. Pisces becomes his vacation home. He loves being there, he enjoys being there. But you know, after a while, he got to get back to business at home. So every planet has their home and their vacation spot. So when Jupiter's vacation spot is in the 8th house for Taurus ascendant, which becomes this house of transformation, upheaval, great ups and downs. It's a house of, rejuvenation, rebirth. So it's a very heavy affecting planet than Jupiter transit. Every year, as long as you live, it's going to be that transit. So when it transits over other planets, it's going to have a certain effect. Versus if, let's say, Jupiter was ruling your 9th house with sign of Sagittarius. Let's say you're an Aries ascendant. So Jupiter transit will be having that anchor of the 9th house. Imagine Jupiter with a leash-on of the 9th house, and anywhere it travels is bringing that anchor point of the 9th house with him. If he has the 8th house, then he's going to bring that anchor point no matter where he travels. He's always relying on that 8th house anchor point. This is the simple concept, ways you can just understand astrology and transits. So what happens when Jupiter, first of all, transits your Sun, over your Sun? Now, when I'm telling you this, okay, I do not know personally what sign Jupiter is transiting in, what house Jupiter rules. So what I'm going to be giving you here is that basic foundational significance of Jupiter. Will that be good in a big way or bad in a big way? Well, that we don't know. We can't assess that. Only you can, or if I looked at your chart, you can, especially nowadays when I'm doing people's career marriage consultation, now Jupiter and Saturn are in a very interesting place. They're both pointing to one house, which is Leo. So a lot of things that I'm looking at in the career consultation or marriage, and I'm saying, well, this should be happening, and that is happening. Because it's simple mathematics. When you 2 plus 2, it has to equals 4. So that's what happens. That's why I love some of these double transit of Jupiter and Saturn, because they just make the transit meaning and prediction very easy, for people. So when Jupiter Saturn transit over a planet, and Jupiter's significance is to expand things, is to bring this big floodlight over it of positivity, because Jupiter is a natural benefic planet. So even for Taurus ascendant, if it's ruling that 8th house, right, the most malefic house, its natural significance is to bring hope and desire to people. Perhaps your hopes and desire is going to come through a major transformation, but it is going to come because Jupiter's natural significance is positive. So when it goes over your sun represents your ego, father, your self-esteem, and represents society and government at large. What this shows that one will suddenly feel this brush of fresh air. They will feel like, wow, I'm feeling confident these days for some reason. You may have the most worst sun in your horoscope. You have no self-esteem, you're low in confidence, but just for that 8-degree transit, when Jupiter comes over your sun, you suddenly feel like, you know what, I think I can do these things. I think I feel a lot better than before. And what you will see is that you may reap benefits through the government and your father. Perhaps your father may just give you a $100 check, or your father may give you a $100,000 inheritance during this time. But things related to that sun significance is going to be taking place in a big positive way. Also, if you realize, whenever Jupiter goes over sun, prices of gold increase. And if Saturn goes over sun, prices of gold kind of decreases. So that tells you when to buy and sell gold as well. But there's a little bit more complicated analysis than this. And then Jupiter goes over your moon. Whenever it goes over moon, you will notice that you move. Either you shift to a new place, you move to a new place, you're buying a new house, new vehicles. Because what's happening is moon, with every planet, you got to look at the karka, the significance of each house. So like sun, okay, is the karka of the 1st and 10th house. It's yourself, your ego, and your pride, which comes through your profession. Those things become big. So your opportunities in your work with sun transit or Jupiter transit over sun happens, where you have the opportunity to get a promotion. You get into a bigger office. When it goes over moon, moon is a karka of what? 4th house. Home, dwelling, vehicles, mother, emotions, happiness. So it tends to bring that happiness over moon no matter where moon is placed. And your emotions will be big. Now, is it going to be big in a bad way or a good way? That I cannot tell you right now. Because like I said, I do not know your chart personally. But what it happens is your mind will feel like, wow, I'm feeling this hope within my mind. I can actually feel better. This is why Sun and Jupiter are both kind of work similar in a way. Your personality, your mind, body, and soul, it's all part of this one engineering. But because it's the karka of the 4th house, shows one will either be buying a new home, shifting to a new place, maybe buying a new vehicle, buying a new boat. There's always tend to be a move with Jupiter in the 4th house transit, or when it looks at the moon. And shows that your mother benefits a lot too during this time period of Jupiter transiting over your moon. Your mother will have her life become better because of your transit over your moon. Then Jupiter transit over Mercury. During this period, that 8-degree period, a person wants to perhaps read more books, write more articles. Person wants to increase their knowledge either for their professional gains or their personal gains. You really are feeling this enthusiasm about communication. You want to communicate now. You want to go out to parties and you want to talk to people. You want to increase your intelligence by engaging in conversation with other people. And you will only look for conversation through which you can gain something, not decrease your intelligence. You will also be doing quick short distance travel. There's going to be a lot of activities within the family and home when it goes over Mercury. Because Mercury becomes a significator, the karka of the 2nd house. Voice, family. Mercury is also quick movement, because remember, Mercury is very quick in movement, right? So when Jupiter goes over it, your movement becomes, you'll notice that when it goes over Mercury, you're just traveling a lot. If you were just, let's say, like I go for coffee, maybe, once every day. But when Jupiter transit over Mercury, I'm going from here to some other city, I'm going here to San Francisco, Palo Alto, I'm going there. Suddenly, I'm just being forced to go from one place to the other very quickly. But suddenly, I'm also interested in reading articles on astrology. I'm also interested in finding out what else is out there in the magical world of astrology. Then Jupiter transits over your Venus. What happens is you have hope for your relationships. You have a hope, oh my God, I'm actually going to get a relationship. You know what? I want to be in a relationship. And you will notice when Jupiter is going over Venus, you will have opportunities to go on dates, to have a relationships. In a man's chart, they can actually bring a wife or a marriage into play. Venus also represents your desires and represents that luxury items, jewelry, assets, money, feeling comfortable in life. So here Jupiter will somehow make you feel comfortable in life, even if you're living like in the worst condition of your life for that particular time of your life. And Jupiter transits over your Venus, maybe what happens is in that period you get a job, and through that job you're able to at least get a very small little dinky car, and you're able to be like, wow, I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 10 family members, couldn't work, now I have a job paying me $2,000 a month, but now I can actually get this $500 car. So what happens is people expect like, wow, I'm just going to be living like a king. No, it can happen at level 1 with Jupiter going over Venus, or it can happen at level 10, where yes, you can go from living in rags on going all the way to riches. But Venus' main purpose is relationships. Binding relationships, romance, love. And it's love for anything. It's not just lovers, but love for your family, your pets, your neighbors. So Jupiter here brings that hope for love, that hope for a better romance in your life. If it's ruled your 8th house, what it can do, it can give you a sudden romance. Like you haven't had any date or relationship in 5 years, but suddenly you're on your Facebook, or you're on your social media network, somebody adds you, and you start talking to them. Next thing you know, oh my God, I think I like this guy. I think this guy is very interesting. And finally you feel like, you know what, I may want to give this guy a chance. So after 2 weeks of talking, you guys meet for a coffee. You guys meet again. Then you guys go on an official date. Next thing you know, you guys are dating each other. Because of that sudden spark that just happened, because you just logged on to your social media network or your dating website that you never logged on in like 2 years. Then Jupiter goes over Mars. This is a time period where you can initiate something new, where you can enterprise, where you can start a new business. You're going to feel like, I need to just create something dynamic and big. Also though, in this period, depending upon Jupiter's condition, you can get hurt, meaning like in sports. And I've seen this actually in so many people who are athletes, who are, just playing sports on their personal basis. Depending upon Jupiter's condition, you're going to be so full of energy, and you're going to want to exert that energy in sports. Like you're going to be very aggressive. So what happens is a person may either get into fight while playing, being very competitive. And because Mars represents cuts, bruises, you may get cuts and bruises in a bigger way. But if, let's say, Jupiter is very well placed in your horoscope, the way it rules the house, then when it goes over Mars, that thing, you are going to overpower other people. Instead of you getting hurt, you might be getting hurt. But suddenly you will feel more energized than before. You will feel more competitive than before. You're like, I can take competition. Come on, what's up? Let's do it. You're going to be engaging with your male brothers, male siblings, male friends. You're gonna expand your male circle in your life. Perhaps, let's say if you have one friend, while Jupiter transiting your Mars, you come across 3 other people that you get to learn and you get to make friends with. And I see it in everybody's chart, including my own. Then it goes over Saturn. Jupiter's transiting over Saturn. What's happening now? Jupiter, what is doing is putting your hopes, wishes, and desires into action. It's making you work to achieve your goals and desires. The efforts that you are putting now, or that you had been putting when Jupiter wasn't transiting over your Saturn, now Jupiter wants to give you results, the fruits of your labor. And Jupiter gives you a hope for seeing your limitations. What happens with this is that when Jupiter transits over Saturn, a person sees their limitations. Well, I know I cannot be Bill Gates, but maybe I can be Kapiel Raaj. I cannot be, Michael Jordan, but I have great fighting skills. I can be, the best UFC fighter. Fine. But then what happens is, because you saw your limits, now Jupiter gives you hope. Like, look, I'm working within my limits, but yes, I have hope of becoming the Michael Jordan of my field, of my boxing field, fighting field. So Jupiter tends to give a lot of hope with your routine, repetitive work, or the work that you have been doing. And all the limitation that you feel, it brings hope to those things. You will also benefit through your servants. You will have a lot of help from servants during this time period. Then Jupiter goes over your Rahu. This is again one of those transits that you have to study carefully, because here Rahu represents illusion. Okay, Rahu represents things that look like they're something, but they're actually a mirage. What Jupiter is doing, it's overblowing that. If you are, let's say, an actor, you're in the field of illusion, you're a magician, Jupiter going over it will make you recognized and will make your illusionary art even better. If you're trying to go for a political campaign, Jupiter going over Rahu will make you look larger than life. It's like it's adding this special lens where your body looks big. So when you are going towards political things, trying to gain recognition, here Jupiter Rahu mix will help you a lot, because people will look at you bigger than life. But on the other end, because your self is so overblown, you will miss to see the reality of things. You will miss to see what the little things that you are supposed to be looking after, you probably will miss that. So what could happen here is that your professional life, your image out in the world is really blown over, okay? And you are really seeking the benefit, but what could be hurting you is in your personal life. There's not enough time for that personal life because you're stuck in this illusion, and this illusion is even now overblown. What also happens, you may come across a foreign guru during this time period. And this also happens when Jupiter transits over Jupiter. That's something I should have discussed too, because when Jupiter transits over Jupiter, you will come across teachers, gurus, counselors, advisors. You will be taking a consultation from people regarding whether your taxes, finances, or your astrological consultation. I get people who have Jupiter going over Jupiter, and they're coming to me for a consultation. And because natal Jupiter is going over the natal Jupiter, you will notice that your 2nd, 5th, 9th, and 11th house all get triggered, which is family, children, education, higher education, father, gurus, astrologers, hopes, desires, wishes, and recognition. Everything starts happening. And this is actually Jupiter transit over Jupiter is one of the best time periods for women to either conceive a child or to get the husband in their life. Jupiter transit over your Ketu, the south node of the moon. Here you will find a great opportunity to look within yourself. Ketu will suddenly be activated with Jupiter going over it, and you will get the opportunity to look within. This can happen in a million different ways. Perhaps you're just sitting in your computer at night on Friday night and you come across my videos, or you come across Wayne Dyer videos, Deepak Chopra talking. So what's happening is, through any kind of means, you are attaining knowledge to really understand your spiritual side of life. What will also happen? You will attain secrets during this period. Maybe you will come across occult knowledge. And this can happen in any way, like I'm saying. Like, you don't even have to believe in astrology, numerology, occult. You could be on a sofa, on the couch, and watching something on Nostradamus. And you learn something about the occultic world. That is the same thing. That is exactly what Jupiter is supposed to be doing, and is doing it. Whether it's doing it this way, or you actually sitting in front of a guru, learning something about yourself and going towards your inner things, or you're seeing a psychologist, psychiatrist, because of your understanding your own self better. Also, with Jupiter going over Ketu, explosions happen, because Ketu represents that terror explosion. So with Jupiter being that expansion, shows that there you can see explosion happening, like in Middle East somewhere. Especially when Rahu goes over Ketu, those explosions definitely happen, because Rahu is sudden. It's sudden expansion, like within a second expansion. Jupiter is like a week-long expansion. So when a bomb occurs, when a bomb blast happen, it's a nanosecond thing. So Rahu can trigger that. We'll discuss that in Rahu transit. But this is how you understand, Jupiter transit. But also, you got to understand, when Jupiter goes over a certain planet, whatever house that planet is ruling, things related to that house will be activated as well. So if Jupiter is transiting over your Sun rules the 5th house, then you will be either dealing with things related to children, education, perhaps you'll be able to conceive a child, give birth to a child. So, and wherever Sun is sitting, that's how those things will be activated through. So let's say if your Sun is in the 6th house, it rules the 5th house, Jupiter goes over it, shows through trying to improve your health, by trying to, take care of some of your illnesses and diseases, somehow you're able to improve the condition to have children. And I see this all day long, every time somebody wants to do IVF, or they did this IVF on this day, or this year, you will see how the 5th lord or Jupiter and the transit of other planets is simply going over these other planets. So you're improving the condition of the 5th house. By improving your condition through that house, with Jupiter transit, you improve the condition of that house that it rules. In simple math. So guys, this was my analysis of Jupiter transit over other planet. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Again, if you want to know where your Jupiter is placed, what planet is transiting over, all my books, reports, consultations. For that, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.